The youth in Agina acquired the Book of Mudora and let Princess Zelda translate the writing on the stone tablets with it. The message thus revealed that there is a sealed power buried in the mountain known as the Silver Arrows. However, they still do not have all of the stone tablets. Based on the word mountain, Agina and the youth chose to head to the foot of Death Mountain. We need your help once more, young one. Don't forget to take your possessions with you. And once again, Big Bang. Bag, not bang. That's entirely something different. Wait, Hero Light, please take me with you. You can't go to Death Mountain without someone that can solve the mystery of the stone tablets. I know how to read the Book of Mudora, and I felt that it was my destiny to accompany you and to use it to decipher them. Come, Hero Light, let us go to Death Mountain together. Oh, but that cannot... I suppose it cannot be helped. Please take care of the princess, young one. And indeed I shall. You've collected 6 of the stone tablets, young one. You must now search for the 7th. It's under the tombstone that won't move even if you push it. You should try ramming into it. Its location will appear on your map. Okay then. I'll pray to the gods for your safety. Okay then. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Let's Play BS Legend of Zelda Ancient Stone Tablets. In the last part we finished off week 3, and now we're starting off week 4, the final week. And week 4 is a bit unique in the fact that Zelda is constantly following us. She doesn't restrict us in any way, unlike some of the other people who followed us, like the priest who would prevent you from entering caves. But she's going to be along for the ride, and it's interesting to have her along, to say the least. And as usual for the pattern, we're not going immediately into the first dungeon, even though it's, well, technically 7th dungeon, even though it's very easy to find if you played the original Link to the Past. Instead, we are going to go get some heart pieces first off. Only 8 left in the game, and we can get a good amount of them right now. First off, number 1 is right here. I do have to wonder, though, because I think this is the only heart piece in the game that's technically located in a prior week's area, why they decided to put that one there. I say think, because I can't quite remember if you're allowed to come up here during week 2. Because this feels like it should be, because it's technically part of Kakariko Village, but... And heart piece number 2 is very close by. In fact, it's quite in the open. What is the point of putting that there? It's honestly kind of strange to put it there, in my eyes. And we're immediately going to go ahead after number 3. Also, keep in mind that black rock that are on the screen for later. Let's just say it's going to come into play in about 10 minutes. And yeah, actually, we got a bit of a shorter part today. That's mostly because Dungeon 7, as we'll see, is short and very linear. I can't tell if that's just due to the fact that they decided that you needed a bit more time to do things in this week, or if they decided since it's the final week, they should take it a bit easy on players who may have had trouble in the past reaching through all the previous ones. Because I'm not entirely sure about how this game handles entering previous week's dungeons. Also, heart piece number 3. I'm not sure if it's closer to what I think they did in BS Legend of Zelda Original, where you can enter previous dungeon weeks in the future weeks, but I'm not entirely sure about how it works. That was probably horrible grammar. I apologize for that. And our next dungeon is actually at the graveyard. It's at the grave in the top right there. But due to rule of symmetry, if there's something in the top right, there's something in the top left. And those who played Zelda will know that this led down to the catacombs of the Tyrell Castle in the original game. But here it leads us on a little optional cave path that leads to, first off, some money. And our final bottle. I think this is like the one Zelda game where I don't really use bottles that much. And that applies to the original A Link to the Past too. I just never really find the use for fairies because, honestly, even though it has much more of a curve than Ancient Stone Tablets, Link to the Past is really easy. Also, you have to dash into that gravestone just like in the original game to open it for Dungeon 7. You can throw the boomerang. No, you don't say. Didn't they give us that exact advice back in Dungeon 3 or something, wherever we got it? Ugh. Either way, here's the map. They gave it to us really early, and as you can see, it's a very lengthy in terms of floors dungeon, but they're all pathetically short. That's what I mean by the fact that this is a short dungeon. I'm trying to remember when we leave. I think we leave at about the 10-minute, 20-second mark. We're not here for long. And there's the compass. To be fair, some dungeons in the original Link to the Past were short, and speedrunners especially can just show you, if you know about the game design and how to abuse some things with its programming, how short of a game it can be. But this is also a bit of a reverse because this is also our ice temple. It's the complete inverse of the A Link to the Past ice temple, though, because the ice temple in there, well, ice palace technically, was the worst dungeon in the game. Even I consider it worse even than Ganon's Tower, just because ice gimmick. Not to say ice levels are horrible, but in Zelda they tend to be some of the worst in my eyes, even worse than water temples. Because in water temples I can at least control myself consistently. Ice temples like the ice cavern in Ocarina, I've always hated. Though I do like Snowhead. Snowhead has always been pretty good in my eyes, but that's less so an ice temple, more so a snow temple, because they do more of the snow gimmick than they do the ice. Though, in my eyes, Majora's Mask just has the best dungeon designs in the series, because it actually requires you to think through some things without getting too complicated. And I think these two rooms here are like the only two optional rooms in the entire dungeon. I'm trying to think, I can't remember any other ones. And here's the upgrade thief, so it would make sense. Upgrades have seen quite the increase in price, though, from 50 to 100 to 200, now to 400. Which I would harp on how expensive that is in relative terms, but I have over 11,000 rupees. I don't care at this point. And something as well about Week 4. I think it has the least timed events. I think at 13, 2 fairies appear. Yeah, there they are right now. At 15, I think is when the gold potion goes on sale. You get infinite bombs at the 18th. Infinite arrows at the 25th. And that's about it in terms of major stuff. And here we get the Titan's Mid. Now we can lift the black stones that we couldn't before. Remember that door I told you to remember earlier on. Now that we have that, we'll be able to do something about that after we finish this dungeon and get some more stuff. Oh, hey, the penguins. I hated these guys in the original game. Now they are cake to my... No, butter to my knife. There we go. That's the proper terminology of phrasing of the English language. English is a weird language. I feel sorry for anyone who actually wants to try and learn it as their second. Because I think it has the most exceptions to its own rules that I've ever heard of. Bless their hearts for trying, though. And there we get a key. But yeah, as you can see, they don't really even give you many other alternate paths to go. Usually the key that you need to proceed is in the exact room you're in, except for the case of the big key here. Which makes me wonder if they intentionally made it like the easiest dungeon to navigate through, aside from maybe the first one. Just to say, we know the Ice Palace sucked, we're sorry. And considering the fact that they changed the Ice Palace's layout in the Game Boy Advance version of A Link to the Past, that would make sense. And here we get the dungeon item, the Cane of Samaria. Similarly to A Link to the Past, you can make blocks with it and platforms. And if you use the rod again when there's a block, it'll split off into the 4 lasers. Something I'm not sure if they added, though, just because I'm not entirely sure about it, is you can now lift those blocks the Samario makes and throw them. I never tried that in the original, though. And here we are at the boss. I forget its name, but it's not important. And it's pathetically easy. You use the fire rod to melt it, and then you can just do any method you want of damaging it. I prefer the Pegasus boots in this instance just because I'm basically a walking beam of straight death. And the thing is, I remember this guy actually being kind of annoying in the original game. But now it's just like, nope. I feel so sorry for the thing. It looks so light and fluffy. Like Krakow. And Ancient Stone Tablet number 7. Now I wonder how old they actually are. We got the stone tablet, hurry and find the next one. Because think about it, in a medieval time, at least a medieval setting, rather, like Hyrule, what would ancient be to them? Like, caveman era comparative to us? Or, That's something I've always found interesting about RPGs and fantasy, because ancient can be something entirely different. Either way, as for the pattern, time for us to get some heart pieces, and there's one exactly in here like there was in the original game. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. Like, there's this one book series, or author I read fairly often, by the name of Mark Lawrence, a big fantasy writer, fairly successful with his Broken Empire trilogy and Red Queen's War saga so far. I know the third one's been released, but I'm waiting for mass market just because I've gotten them all on mass market so far. It's a fantasy setting in the middle of some sort of, a sort of Europe, but you start to learn through context clues in the story that it's a post-apocalyptic world. We blew ourselves up, and so we reverted, similarly to that joke in the first episode of Futurama, to, basically fantasy again. Medieval, and I like that. That's a really interesting idea. Either way, we can head to the next tablet right now, but there's one more thing I need to do. And to do it, I need to fly back to Dungeon 4. This is why I wonder if you're able to return to past dungeons, because that thief is blocking the way. I've always been able to clear both dungeons in their respective time periods. So I'm not entirely sure what happens if you miss out on one. Oh well. Either way, we're heading up here, because you may remember how every week has had a bit of a rescue mission. Week 1 had Zelda, week 2 had the Smith, week 3 had the Priest. Week 4, we become a hero in our own rights. The Master Sword has chosen you. All of its power is flowing through you. For doing that, you get 5,000 points added to your score. And with that, we have a level 4 sword. We are basically the... Well, not exactly. We're close to being the strongest Link we can be in relative terms. You know, I actually wonder, because this game was popular, I believe, in Japan. I wonder if Breath of the Wild is actually going to have this hat as an option for Link to wear in that. That'd be really cool to see this game get some shoutouts. I'm really excited for Breath of the Wild. I mentioned it in the Shantae part that got uploaded today for frame of reference, that I still haven't watched the trailer. I still haven't in the middle, early November. But I'm so excited for it. But Final Fantasy 15 is my first priority at the moment. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. And in part 8, we're finishing off the game, ladies and gentlemen. See you guys then.